Hello, Flosstube. Elizabeth Martinez, phantastitches here with my Flosstube update number, I think it's 419. I have it over here where I can't see it. Yeah, 419, which is amazing. Think about it. Somebody was talking about, I was watching a video a few minutes ago that uh, where a lady was talking about how, I guess about 10 years ago, she said, she was making some videos and then kind of stopped for a while or something like that. But I thought, when did I start? I started really almost 10 years ago because it was in 4,217, I believe, that I started my channel. Um, and so, yeah, it's been like basically 9 years, almost 9 years, I guess, something like that. So I don't know exactly what date I started. You know, I don't know when my floss tube anniversary is, but yeah. So uh, the last two videos I did were about an hour long, 50 minutes, I think, 2 weeks ago, and definitely an hour last week. And also, my video last week didn't post until the wee hours, because um, I gone to do gone out and I left my floss tube cooking and fell asleep, I guess, and woke up like in the middle of the night going, "Oh, my floss tube," and it had shut down or not finished processing or whatever, um, and so it didn't go live until like the middle of the night or something. So sorry about that. Usually I try to do them like right now is in the mid afternoon. Uh, I try to do them during the day, and I try not to make them long. I'm kind of ambivalent about long videos. Some people love them, some people don't love them. I I'm of two minds. On the one hand, it's interesting to see like maybe a whip parade that takes a little longer because you're going through all your stuff. Um, and but uh, but generally, I try to keep my videos are generally about 30 minutes long, just because I don't have a whole lot to post each week, and because I do them weekly. Um, so yeah, so I apologize if the video was too long for you, um, or you know some other issue. I'm getting a weird thing. Okay, my computer keeps telling me microphone and use my. It's like because I had my mouse in the wrong place. Anyway, so this week I'm hopefully gonna be back to my normal like 30-minute ish length, but I do have a lot of haul to show. Um, but first, the first thing I wanted to do to talk about was something I talked about last week, but it didn't get stuck in until the end of the video, and the video was so long. I thought people might not have. A, the video was late, and B, the video was long, and so people might not have watched all the way to the end. I know that I don't have nearly as many followers as some channels do, so it's not like I expect things to go gangbusters or whatever. But anyway, I wanted to do this a little earlier just so that people would be more likely to see this information than not. So last week I talked about a, a pattern I created I call Tiny Saint. It's hard to see. I don't know how well it shows up on camera, but there's a little kitty face with this one white whisker, and this little poem, and down here an ear of corn, and that's because this kitty's name is Baby Corn. For those of you who might have who actually saw this my video last week, and it's also on my the video I do with my sisters, the Three Sister Creative Sticks and Strings video. I talk about this then also. But this pattern was created as a fundraiser for MeowParlour, which is the cat cafe in New York that um, Baby Corn's owner. Her YouTube channel is Whisks to Whiskers. FaceTube channel is Whisk to Whiskers is the name of her channel, all one word. But Baby Corn, I think, was a foster fail, if you will, that she adopted, who is a wobbly cat. He has cerebellar hypoplasia and also dwarfism, apparently, because that's why he has small ears and some other health issues. And he again he's wobbly and he's small. He's like 9 months old and about the size same size as a 9 week old kitten. Um, so anyway, Baby Corn, she was doing a fundraiser. I guess like if they were able to raise a certain amount, that he would like meet people, whatever. But I had the idea of doing this fundraiser so that like you can make a donation to MeowParlour in whatever amount you feel comfortable with. Take a like a screenshot of your donation or whatever to prove that you made a donation, and send it to me. And I have the email in there for one sister, three sister creative at gmail.com. It's going to be in the description box below. Um, which and like I said, send me a screenshot of your donation or something to prove that you made a donation, and I'll send you this pattern. Um, so it has a little poem on there. I don't know if you can't see it necessarily on my video, but when uh, when she posted this a picture of Baby Corn. She had gone to Rome. I told the story before. She had gone to Rome with her husband and her parents, and they were with him. He in the hotel room while they went and saw a few sights there. But at one point, she took had posted a picture of him, and she captured it. I found a tiny saint in Rome. And so Jonathon Eaton wrote this. Who's one of her followers, wrote this poem and put it in the comments of this picture. And he wrote, I found a tiny saint in Rome. It looked like he could use a comb. His eyes were wide, his tongue stuck out. He was, without a doubt, devout. His hair was black, his ears were pointed. I wonder when he was anointed. And I just thought that poem was so cute that I contacted him and I uh, put this together. I tried to contact the lady from Whisks to Whiskers, but I don't know if she saw my post, and I'm not sure if I posted in the right place or not. But anyway, but I wanted to do this fundraiser for MeowParlour anyway. Um, just for whoever sees it from my followers, um, just to try to make a donation for their cause. So anyway, like I said, if you make a donation of any amount, send me a screenshot or whatever of your donation, and I'll send you a copy of this pattern. I used Weeks Dye Works colors for the pattern, but you're perfectly welcome to use any threads you want from your stash or whatever if you want to, if you don't have the Weeks Dye Works colors. I just thought did it for fun. I usually chart things when I very rarely make patterns, but when I do, I use DMC just because it's easy and it's handy, and I have all the DMC colors. Um, and I don't use fancy floss for that kind of thing anyway, just because. But I happen to do it with this pattern, and I use mostly Weeks Dye Work colors that I had already, but I had to buy a couple to go with this. But anyway, like I said, it's charted in Weeks Dye Works, and I didn't do a DMC conversion just because I'm lazy and I whatever. But you're certainly if you want to stitch it, you're certainly free to use whatever colors you want. I just have like a red, a blue, a yellow, a black, a gray, for the guys. And this one little whisker is in B5200. But like I said, you're certainly free to do whatever. And put in the corners. I don't know, they're a little hard to see, but little halos because he's a tiny saint. But anyway, and his name is Baby Corn. That's a long story behind that, but if you want to read about him, go to Whisk to Whiskers on Facebook and you can explore his history there. But anyway, so um, so that's baby corn. And for I haven't started stitching it yet. I just got around to dyeing some fabric. This is 32 count Murano Carré. The original color was like I think pearl or ice. Ice. Ice was the color. Ice. So it was basically like a white, an off white. So I dyed it. It's a little hard to see here, maybe, but it's basically light blue. No, purple. Hyacinth. Hyacinth. And so it's a little. There's a little modeling, but I just wanted a kind of a light uh, uh, color to stitch on. And the threads that I chose for this, like I said, they're Weeks Dye Works colors, and I had some of them in my stash, and some I had to. A couple of them I had to buy, and a couple of them were like in other projects, and I just didn't feel like digging them out. So I was going to the attic anyway to pick up the colors that I didn't have. So I went ahead and just got them all. So these are the colors that I used. Let me see if I can hold them all in one glob. Yeah. So these are the colors that I chose, and then I think they'll work very nicely on this fabric. The only one I was concerned about when I picked it up was this emerald green that's used in the corn, um, because it's a little bit lighter than I imagined it. I hadn't really looked at it before I chose it. I just chose it off my computer, but so it was a little lighter than I imagined. But I think it'll show up. It'll show up very nicely on here. And like I said, the only place it's used is in the corn. So anyway, so those are the colors for the baby corn pattern. And then also while I was at the attic, I picked up another strand of coal, KOHL coal, Weeks Dye Works coal, because I'll show you in a minute. I was finishing one of my cottage garden samplings patterns, and I had not done one of the trees in this pattern, and it used coal for the like bark of the tree, and I didn't have it in the my project bag for that project. I thought, do I even have it? And I looked where my thread tracker um, said other projects would have coal, and it wasn't in there either. And I thought, did I use it all? Because I had like a couple of these Weeks Dye Works little cards for coal, but they were empty. And I thought, did I use all that I have? And then I found I had a bag that had what I thought was all DMC bobbins in it, but there were a few fancy flosses in there. And I took them out, and I realized one of them was coal, but there was only like strands of two strands of coal left in there, two 6 strands. Um, but so yeah, I thought, oh, I need to buy this because apparently that was the only one I had of this. So yeah, so I got some more of that coal. But I'll get back to the rest of my purchases in a second because I want to talk about the fact that I have finished. So this is the one I was doing. This one of these tree trunks down here. This one down here. I had not done any of this stuff down on the bottom. So as I was stitching it, I realized, oh yeah, I need that coal for this tree trunk here. But I had already stitched the whole bird and this little cabin, and then I had done at least the tree trunks on all these trees except for this one, and I had not yet done any of this, and I had not done the I think I'd done this tree, maybe these two trees, I don't know. But so I had done part of the things, and I had done some of these little leaf piles, whatever. But it was mostly just those trees and this big giant piece of bark here that I had to do. And And so my goal for most of my whips is 7 days, and I just took a little bit extra uh, day to finish because I was close to being done. So this is the woodpecker. This is the woodpecker. Um, the third of these cottage garden samplings, year in the woods uh, patterns that I finished. So I finished the first one, which was the fox, the second one, which is the swans, and then this is number, I want to say 9, 9, number 9 of that 12-part series. So I still have like here. This is my famous mistake. This is supposed to be number 7, and this is 8, and they should have been switched around, but yeah, I put them in the wrong place. So, but yeah, so I have these two birds to do, and this is the third bird, which is done now. And you know, when we were at the attic today, they had some of the new uh, cottage garden samplings year in the woods number 2. They had some of the patterns there, and I thought, do I get them? Do I not? Do I get them? Do I not? I put it off because I was already buying all the threads, and I bought another pattern. But yeah, I was very sorely tempted, but I thought, I'll do it later. But so I finished the woodpecker. My other big whip for this month for WIPGO is, as luck would have it, the raccoon, which is my number 2. The woodpecker is my number 7 on my WIPGO chart, and the numbers are 2 and 7. This is number 2. So this is the raccoon, and I'm not nearly as far along as I was with the woodpecker. So I still have to do his body. I did like this darker gray and some of the white, and part of his tail, the darker colors on his tail, and some of the this crisscross, patterns that are on all these animals. Um, so I'm working on this grayer background, not the little diamond shapes which are done in blue, but this gray color that's in here. You'll see. Anyway, and I've done like one of these flowers, and I think I've done some of these because I did do the cabin here. Um, so he's partly done. Let me take it out of the hoop here. Um, but let me move this needle minder. Yeah. So this is the raccoon, and this is the number 4 of the series. So you can see, like, I did this, and actually I made a mistake somewhere in this flower. I kind of started it one square off or something, but it doesn't make a big difference. And there's like a little one of these little diamond spot kind of things here, and there's supposed to be another one. Uh, I think it's over here somewhere, but I haven't put that in yet. But so I did that because it's in the corner. I started in this corner. So I did that first, and from there I think I started the raccoon himself. But so you can see I just have the outline of his back, and I did do his face, most of his face. I did part of his head here. There's another color, that same darker gray, that medium gray, that goes in between these. Uh, it's hard to see, but this has got some stitching there on his head, and then I did the greenery here. I didn't do the pinky flowers that go on here, um, so I could get down. I did this greenery so I could get down here to where the cabin is, and then I did the darker, and there's again some light gray on his tail, and I did there's a light gray that outlines his tail that I did. So that light gray and the pattern that goes in on this lighter gray part of his tail is all done in the same uh, light gray color. But so then what goes in between it is what I haven't done yet. So there's a long way to go on the raccoon. So what I'm going to try to do is, if I can, to finish his body, and that's going to take some doing. But anyway, that's the raccoon. That's my next project plan, my next WIPGO number. And so I've done just, I did a little bit of it last night. Um, we filmed our Three Sisters, Sticks and Strings video last night because my younger sister, had a bunch of stuff to do today. She had a couple of concerts to work and stuff like that. So we got together last night, and we did it over at her house, at Naomi's house, and it's in the evening. It's to me it feels a little dim in there because I'm used to stitching. I have a little spotlight that's that shines down on my stitching, and I'm used to that brighter light, giving a little more definition to it. And so to me, when I'm stitching there at her house, it feels the light is diffused because it's the dining room light, and I feel like I can't see anything. I can't see what I'm doing. Um, so I stitched just a little bit up here on his back. So this is just basically a little bit of last night and a little bit of today because I've been running around today, going to the attic. But so yeah, I'm hoping that by the end of the day today I'll have a little bit, a significant progress on his body there. But anyway, that's the raccoon. That's my next, the rest of my second big WIPGO piece. Um, and then I also, when I dyed that fabric, I dyed some more fabric for my two new starts for this month. Uh, One is a little owl kit. These are both from little kits from Hobby Lobby that just caught my eye. One is an owl kit. It doesn't have a specific name, but I call it the owl kit because that's what it is. And the other one is called, um, I kept calling it Under the Sea, but it's not. It's called Sea Life. Um, anyway, so this is the first kit, the owl kit, and you can see there's owls. And like I said, it doesn't have a name. Cross stitch mini is what it's called, and there's a number but not a name, so I'm calling it the owl kit. And so it came with all the threads and this white Ada and even a hoop. Um, but I took the Ada and I dyed it again. It's purple with a little bit of blue, aquamarine. I didn't iron it, so it's kind of scrunchy, but yeah, I like it. So and the colors I think will work well on it. I put them on. It came in a little tied up hank, but I went ahead and put them on Flosstube, and it's just like one thread of each color, or a couple threads of a couple of colors, but for the most part, it's just one thread of each color. So I think they'll work well on here as well. They're put away somewhere. But anyway, then the other kit is called Sea Life, and it has the little sea creatures, and each one is backstitched. The owls are that kit is the I think main things on the picture are all. I think everything's backstitched except that little heart. So the colors of the owls, kind of, it doesn't matter if they blend it a little bit too much to the fabric because everything's going to be backstitched. So you'll see, and everything's surrounded by color, so you'll see everything. And the same thing kind of with this Sea Life. Each of these little sea creatures, is backstitched. So, um, so they'll show up, I think, well enough. Uh, in this. And this kit also came with all the threads and the hoop and the fabric and all that. So I took the fabric and I dyed it. This is aquamarine with just a dash of purple just to give it some interest. It's a little harder to see because there's light coming through there. But anyway, so in real life, it's a nice, very light blue. Like I said, this I used aquamarine, Rit aquamarine, and dyed it. And then, of course, it came with all these colors also. Um, and they're all going to be all the little animals are supposed to be back stitched. So I think it'll work well on this fabric as well. So there's that. And so that is all that I of my that's all my whip stuff. But I do have some haul. We were at the attic today. I came across this little piece of fabric. I'm not sure what the count is. It doesn't say the count or the size of the fabric. Um, but it was like it was inexpensive. It was like only $12, which is pretty good for a piece of fabric. But like I said, this little tag doesn't say what the count or type of the. It says Nikki's Creations hand dyed linen, and so like I said, I think this is like 32 count, maybe 28, but I think it's 32. But anyway, it's a nice piece of linen. It's just sort of a neutral, natural color, and it's not very big, but it's big enough, like maybe 8 by 10 or something like that. Yeah. So I thought that's a nice size, especially considering the larger cuts are like $38, $41, something like that. So yeah, this is nice at 12. I don't usually buy fabrics. I have a few pieces that I bought, like they must have been remnants or something like that there at the attic. Um, but the larger pieces, well, and they have some smaller cuts hanging on a display rack thing. And usually I kind of go and look there to see if there's anything that catches my eye that I want. But usually I'm kind of ambivalent about them. And like I said, I dye fabric all the time for if there's something that I need. I often just dye it myself if I want a specific color or whatever. Um, you know. But anyway, so the other thing I got at the attic was this. This is another of the Stacy Nash animal crackers. There's a little bit of glare. I don't want to take it out of the plastic there. There it is. This is Bones. It's a little kitty cat in, I guess, the skeleton, but he has this little mask. This is a mask, and he comes with these little fishies. And there's a template in here also in this pattern for a heart shape. And I was looking at it, going, why? Where is there a heart? Because there's not a picture of it. This picture on the back is just the same as the picture on the front. The template for the heart is, I think, um, supposed to be a patch on the back, like if you stuff it from the back, you cut a slit and stuff it there instead of stuffing it on one of the seam like you might a pillow. Some people do that. They have a slit in the back that they stuff through, and then they put a patch over it. Um, and I think that's what the heart is supposed to be about. Um, because there's like a little oval template for the fish here, and then that, like I said, that heart template that you could use, I apparently used to put on the back to stuff it. So I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. I might. I don't know. But anyway, I had always wanted to stitch this, and I'd put off buying it. Um, but since I have like a few other Stacy Nash of these animal cracker designs, I went ahead and bought this one when I saw it. So I thought, I don't need any more stash, but ooh. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was our friend Vicky. She's a girl that Eve and I went to school with, and I think she lives now in Oklahoma. Um, but like I said, we were in school together there in Albuquerque, and she very kindly, very generously sent a box to us, to me and my sisters, and it had several patterns in it, had some fabric in it, had some knitting stuff in there, yarn and needles and stuff, and so we each kind of said, I want this, I want that, and then some other stuff. We're gonna look at the patterns and decide if whoever wants to stitch them. I think one that I think I will probably stitch is one of a seahorse. I don't have that one with me here. Um, I didn't think about that. But I do have one that I am for sure going to stitch, and that is Lear's Macaw by Lindy Stitches, and this is part of her Endangered Species Club. And I had wanted to join her Endangered Species Club back when she first came up with it, and I just didn't because of the money or whatever, you know. But I had seen several of them that she had shown, you know, as they were released. But this is one of them from the Endangered Species Club. This is number 6, the Lear's Macaw. I mean, these beautiful blue parrots, macaws. But the minute I saw that, I thought, oh, I want to stitch that. So there's a little thing here about the Lear's Macaw. It's a Brazilian parrot. There we go. It is a parrot. Um, and the population of this species is estimated at 1,300 adults. So it's very small. Uh, Habitat loss, hunting, trapping for the pet trade. Those are things that are endangering it. Um, this parrot was named after the English limerick genius Edward Lear. Um, he published a volume of his parrot paintings. Um, yeah. Anyway, um, he's the guy who wrote The Owl and the Pussycat. Yeah. The poem. But anyway, so this pattern was among those that she sent us, and it came with she came with a couple of, I mean, these colors that are used in there. There are a couple of weak Starworks colors. There's 2 uh, strands of Americana and 2 strands of blue bonnet. 2 skeins, I should say. Yeah. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to incorporating that somehow in my stitching. So yeah, that's Lear's Macaw by Lindy Stitches from her Endangered Species Club. Um, let me see. Let me get this back in here. Sorry, I don't want to lose those threads. And then she, among the other things she sent us were some grab bags of fabric. So Eve took the Ada. There's one bag of Ada, a couple of pieces of Ada, and then the rest of it is, like, I think they're all even weave. Yeah, these even weave grab bags from uh, Stitch Me. Yeah. So, and these are like kind of smaller cuts. I imagine they're smaller cuts left over from larger cuts, you know, that regular cuts that people had, and these were left over from that, I imagine. So that they don't have, you know, like names of the fabric, but so they're, yeah, so they're, you know, oh, sorry, sorry about that. They're like this, about this size, you know. So there's various, some are a little bit larger, some are, you know, around that same size. But yeah, so they're just like lots of different, like I said, colors and sizes and things like that. So this one is like greens and tan. Yeah. And I just want to, like I said, I just want to look at one of these bags. There's a, this one's a little bit longer. And there's a nice neutral off-white color. This is a beautiful deep maroon. And then this is a blue here. Yeah, it's beautifully modeled. Yeah. So this is typical of the rest of the fabrics. So there's, like I said, these, you know, blues and this is blues and greens and stuff. And then there's this really nicely modeled brown and some other, you know, blue and other colors that are in there. So Yeah, so that's great. Thank you so much, Vicky. Um, like I said, Vicky was a girl that we went to school with. Yeah, and so yeah, so and we reconnected thanks to Facebook. Just like yeah, I reconnected with my friend Brandy after we didn't ever exactly lose touch. We've kept in touch with Christmas cards and things like that. But she and I just got back in touch more more purposefully recently, and it's been fun because especially because like being out here in Santan and with my disability and stuff like that, I'm not as nearly as um, active and physically going around doing stuff as I was once upon a time um, when I worked and all that. So it's nice to have people to be in contact with um, in other through other means. But anyway, so that is, I think, pretty much everything I have this week that I wanted to talk about. Um, yeah, so hopefully, like I said, over the next few days, I'm going to be working on the raccoon. And I don't have specific goals for my new start, so the owl kit and the sea life kit, um, I can at least get a little bit of a start on. But mostly, also, I want to stitch on that baby corn pattern, so you can see a little bit more of that. Hopefully, because it should go pretty quickly. Because it's mostly just the words for the poem, and then baby cat's little head, which isn't really big. The pattern is like 84 by 94. You know, not quite 100 by 90. So it's not very big, and again because of that backstitch poem, it's not very dense stitching. Um, the capital letters of the words, are stitched, and the rest is backstitched, and then baby corn's little head and the and the actual corn and the little halos. Not a whole lot of stitching. So hopefully I'll get that knocked out in the next couple of weeks. But please make a donation to the MeowParlour Cat Cafe, and they also have like merchandise that you can buy, stickers and pins and things like that, and cat toys I think also. Um, so yeah, so you can go on that site and take a look there, and Meow Parlor. I'm gonna link the site below if I can, and it should be because it should be in last week's video as well. But and on the Three Sisters Sticks and Strings video, it's linked there also. Um, so yeah, so I think that's all I have this week. So hopefully, like I said, this is a shorter video. It's only about 40 minutes long. So um, yeah, it's not as long and tedious as last week's was. But yeah, so that's it, and I will see you next week. Let me think if there's anything going on between now and then. I don't think there's anything specific, yeah, anything unusual. So anyway, so I will see you all next week, and until then, thanks for watching. Bye.